out of everything so far, and out of everything, we'll probably it for a while, this is going to be one of the characters I feel like a lot of people won't know. And they're still going to get, aspects of series where you're still going to get a decent amount of people to be like, I know that character. And obviously, when you do something pretty obscure, like an obscure series, you're not going to end up getting, the amount of attention like something like a series that's currently in big hype. Like, I know that my Black Clover videos usually do really well. My fairy tale ones are pretty close to that, but obviously Black Clover's at a much bigger surge right now, so that's understandable. But this is a series that I knew I was going to enjoy because I really like the people behind it. I have been following the author for a while, and he ended up pairing up with the guy who did Danganronpa. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly, but they're doing a series that's called Gambler's Parade, and this guy is kind of the pseudo main character. A lot of the time he feels kind of like a mentor kind of character, but at the same time he does like all of the main stuff, but a lot of the series takes place from this girl's perspective. But this guy is a straight up madman, but he's the main character, and he's not really a good guy, but he's not a bad guy. He's very in the gray area. This guy's name is Kumode Nagisa, and if these panels, so far I've just been consistent with picking 7 panels, not too much, but in these panels alone, I think you can tell he's crazy. But if you're wondering why in the first one he just looks like a dude in a suit, and then in the next one he's like this dark-skinned guy with like streaming white hair and claws and sharp teeth, it's because of the theme of the series. So this guy, Kumode, he, while studying out abroad, doing his, just doing some normal kid stuff. I mean, I imagine that's still pretty, studying abroad is, I guess, not normal, but still fairly believable. When he came back, he ended up finding his family, his sister, and his parents, their corpses on this place called Gambling Island, where essentially gambling rules like everything, and you can pretty much do anything as long as, you can win in some form of gambling. Like, if you killed someone and then, like, the police showed up and they're like, what did you do here? You just murdered this guy, you're under arrest. And then you challenge the police to, like, a gambling match and you win, you're gonna get away free, and they'll probably cover it up. That's what he believes actually happened. He believes that the reason that his parents and his sister end up dead was because of some gambler. He doesn't know the reason was. He doesn't really have any clues on. The series is a lot further on from what's translated. It's only translated up to chapter 23 right now. I'm really hoping for an official release. But it's up to, I think, 40 or something in Japan. But with that, he ends up developing a hatred for gambling, like, intensely. And it's so intense that that's actually the reason why he's in this different form. When he pretty much goes into this, like, a heightened, I would say, power-up mode. Like, he's shown some superhuman abilities in it. Like, he was hit by a truck and he got up afterwards. But it's actually because he hates gambling and gamblers so much. Like, this idea of it's not really that skill-based. It's not based around any kind of, like, real method. It's all based around chance and a good amount of luck. There's still always somewhat of skill and planning involved, but obviously when you have it's gambling, that in the idea of gambling there's a very high level of risk in it. And he blames that, that idea of this kind of like living extremely chaotically with no sense of like coming out of it. It's all based on risk, killing his family and his sister, that he developed the hatred so much that when he gets essentially when he gets into a gambling match with another character, his hatred overcomes the point his heart beats in reverse. So his blood flows in the opposite direction than it naturally would, and that causes his body to morph. And because of all this, he's actually, and when I say gray, like, he's like Moon Knight. Like, if you don't know a lot about Moon Knight, I don't know a lot about Moon Knight. I know he's like a super psycho character in Marvel. I mean, it's not really gonna matter now. Marvel comics are not good anymore. But I mean, you could really just pull up some random, like, I don't care if I'm good or evil character, because he actually says that he doesn't care if he's like a symbol of like peace and serenity. He doesn't plan to be some savior to everyone. All he cares about is finding out who killed his family. And like, his whole idea of that, going off no leads, is he's pretty much going to challenge and kill every single gambler he can and he comes across and can with gambling. He wants to destroy them at their own game, to see their own thing turn against them. Fighting fire with fire. And Kumode, again, he's not just like, oh, I'm good at gambling. He's extremely analytical. He's very intelligent. He's very good at planning. Like, there's a whole part where he goes up to play a guy, and before even playing him, it shows that he'd done research. Like, he knows everything about him. He's pretty much got this guy's life story. He knows, like, his nervous tics, the way he thinks, the way he operates, like, what he's going to do next win, whatever. And it's to the point also that he's able to see a slight change in someone's demeanor to be able to tell something. Like in the first chapter, I won't give too many spoilers because if you want to check this out, in the first chapter, he plays a guy, and this guy's like, "How did you know I was? How did you know I was bluffing? You know, you thought I was going to do something completely different." And he brings up that the singular when he goes to pick a different cup, because they're playing like this kind of, you know, that game where you put balls or coins or whatever under a cup and you have to guess it, and you know, if you get whatever the ball or the coin and cup is under, you win and you get out with a prize. He ends up playing that game, and when he goes to pick one and he's like showing which ones he's going to decide, he notices a single drop of sweat on the guy he's playing for, a singular drop, and he knows at that point that this guy is nervous. Where exactly is causing him like that complete and total chill rush throughout when you don't know what's going to happen and you're just anxious and nervous and a good amount of afraid. And he's very much enjoys it. He likes bringing on this cruelty of them. Again, he's not a good guy. This is a shonen series. It's actually in Weekly Shonen Magazine with stuff like Eden Zero and Seven Deadly Sins. But this is a main character that is not a good guy. He's not even like one of those guys where he's not like Natsu. Because again, also Weekly Shonen Magazine. He's not like Natsu, where Natsu's like, I'm not really a good guy, but I lean more good. And all in all, the guild is most important. Or like Meliodas, who's like, I'm a good guy, but I'm perfectly fine of using bad guy means. Kumode is 100%, I don't give a shit. Whatever works, works. Whatever side I gotta take to kill some gamblers, 100% on my part. That's all I care about. He's a wild dude. And I have to emphasize that, again, there's not nearly as much to go off with this character as, like, say, anybody else that I've used so far, because even with Zero, because Zero had a whole big arc around him, there was a lot going on in that. But Kumode, he still has, again, it's also, I've only got to read, like, in English, like, half this Kurt series. But this dude, like, you can tell even in the first series, you get a deep exposition of what he's like. He's 100% fine with, dropping people like flies if it gets him even a single inch closer to his goal. Even if it's not involving, like, he's like, this isn't going to get me closer to finding out who killed my family, but this is a gambler that's pissing me off, and it reminds me of, of the apparent gambler that killed my family, at least who I think is the one that did it. I'm going to kill these guys just for chuckles. I mean, this panel right here, this is a very good, like, interpretation of just not even interpretation, just display of what he's like when he gets in that mood, and the darkest, like, creeping sensations of his body that he wants to just lay out onto his enemies, and see the depravity and utter loss of hope in their souls, just to know that this guy who despises the idea of gambling and gamblers is better than them, and he's used what they care about against them to just end them. And it's not like, I'll defeat you and then leave. It's, I'm gonna kill you. If you survive somehow, that's fine, because I'll end up finding and killing you again. Don't you worry about it. And I imagine if you survived playing with this dude, you're gonna do all you can to avoid him. Like, I don't see anybody playing this psychotic dude who literally hates gambling and gamblers so much on this island where everyone is a major gambler. It's him so much to the point that his heart constricts to where it reverses flow, and he literally turns into a monstrous creature in the process. Like, he's literally got, like, parts of his skin breaking, and they're like these black lines. I don't know why I didn't get the color page, actually, that shows him in chapter 1. I'm actually literally in the middle of this video. I'm gonna go get that and put it in the start, just so you guys can see what I'm talking about, because there's actually a really good panel of it, because the series starts out with a really, really good looking spread of, showing the characters, and Kumode, one of them. This is going to be the first time an 8th mystery panel is going to show up, and let's see how long it takes until it cycles in right away. But that alone, like, I knew I was going to love the series going in with the author and the artist behind it, because the main author is the one that does Danganronpa, but I imagine that the artist, he does a good amount of it. I'm trying really hard to remember how to pronounce his name, but it's funny. It's like, I love this guy, but I can't. It's super hard to pronounce. Nakayama Atsushi did series like Urataro Nejimaki Kage, which you might have heard me mention on the channel before. I really like that series. But if you're one of those guys like me, who I read a lot of manga, especially shonen, just because I really like the consistency with weekly shonen. You get a lot of it, especially when they blow up. You're going to be getting like you get like a schedule versus like you get a series you that might not be huge, but you don't know if you're going to get it every week or every 10 days or sporadic. That's kind of like where Gambler's Parade is in right now. I'm hoping it picks up. It hasn't gotten to that point yet, but maybe within the next couple months it will. I see the author. He's he's actually very active on Twitter. But I didn't even add the picture in. I'm actually gonna change I'm just gonna save it in as in one of the panels in here. 1 second. I refuse to end this video without you guys getting to see what I'm talking about. That good ass looking panel. And 1 second, it's coming around. It's coming. Oh my god, it recycled. Hold on a second. But with that, it's just an all around fun series. And like I said, if you read a lot of shonen like I do, this is one that's like, man, I enjoy characters that are mostly good guys. They're fun, energetic, or maybe like they're a little bit more calm and than emotional. But you just want to see one that's like, man, this is a different main character. Like Denji from Chainsaw Man. He's like a good guy that does bad guy things, but all in all, he's, I would say, leaning more towards good, but that's because, if he does bad stuff, he's gonna get killed. Kumode is an all-out, like, I will literally kill anybody that gets me an inch closer to my goal. I don't care. The only maybe exceptions are member of his crew because, they're part of his gang of the crew he formed called Pink Spider, which is, based off of, it's not, I messed up earlier. The name is based off of the webbing on his face, the kind of like breaking of skin. It actually glows like this pink color in his red skin and black eyes. There we go. Look at that. Look how just good that is. If you want to pause it right here and just look at that, like the colors on this, and just imagine a guy morphing into that. Literally not for like a big ass battle, but it's like, hey, we're gonna play Connect 4, and for $5 is the winner. And he just like, oh, fucking gambling, and he just goes, hey, I am. But that's more like strategy. Maybe if you played like dice or something. But other than that, drop a comment below. I don't expect this one to get as popular or even as many views as the other ones. Like, even if it gets half as much as, like, a lot of them, they're still picking up traction. They're getting over 100 views right now each, within the first day or so. 50 views is fine with me. Like, I'm hoping it does well, but one person picks up this series from this, and that's good enough. It's called Gambler's Parade, obviously, as seen on this page especially. But go check that out, and tell me in the comment section below if you're interested, and if you have read this series, what you think. So this is the last video of this week. I'm just doing a little quick plug at the end of this. This is the last video this week for character discussions. I do 3 a week, and they're all based around a theme that you vote on the channel. The new poll is up right now. It starts and ends on Wednesday. It's 1 week long. There's 4 options. You get to vote for one. Whichever one wins is the chosen one for the week following, and that one is pulled out and a new one is put in, and then the losing 3 will stay in. So eventually, one, if you get one that's in there, you're like, I really want that one to win. It didn't win this week. It'll probably eventually get in. But go check that out. This one, obviously, as I said, crazy and not a villain. The winning next week is actually surprise powerhouses, which will be pretty fun. And the new poll option that I put in there was a Master of the Sword. So go look at that. Go check that out. I actually get a lot more participation in the polls than I thought, and I'm very happy about it. But other than that, I really appreciate your comments. Like I said, thumbs up the video, befriend the like button and subscribe button, and check out my other videos. But other than that, I appreciate everyone who's already subscribed, and I thank you all for listening. Bye.